Welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to cover the journey of 4 of our club members and their experience at the 2024 Ishido Cup in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. As always, everything begins with training and preparation. For me, this kind of started off as a surprise event. I wasn't expecting to go to it. My third child was born in October of last year, and so I'd hunkered down for the winter. I wasn't planning any trips or training camps or anything like that. In fact, I hadn't done any training at all really over the winter to date, all the way through until Christmas and so on. I think I managed to get one session of kendo before the Christmas close down. Just out of the good graces of my wife. Instead of a Christmas party, I got keiko. That's what I got, which was great. Anyway, fast forward after the new year, and my friend Jim, who features in this video, he had mentioned it in passing to my wife, and she ended up suggesting that I go as a sort of birthday present, in lieu of normal birthday presents. She just figured, she knew I was looking to grade to Shodan for EI, and she just figured it would mean more to me to be able to get over and make a trip happen and get the grade, than having a sort of standard party. I begrudgingly accepted because I value my family and my time with them. So, and I was away last year for Kangeko for Ojika in Newcastle. That was their Kangeko, and I attended that because that was a gift from the dojo to me to go and do that trip. So I kind of begrudgingly accepted to go and do this. But I knew it would be fun. I knew it would be a good experience and all. So also the club kind of needs it. We've got one of the Shodan, recent Shodan in EI. So to have 2 under the building, that means we can get level 1 coaching certification and get things moving in terms of getting new members, start shouting about EI a little bit more in Northern Ireland for Belfast. And that'll allow us to put some infrastructure together to make sure that sessions happen reliably and we can grow the club, which is, in terms of long-term goals, that's what we need to be doing for EI and for Joe. Anyway, so obviously headed down to the dojo and got some training. So arrived at the dojo, getting ready for my final training session before my very first Taikai in a week's time, where I'll also be taking my Shodan ready. So let's go on and get training and get to it. Now that I had a couple of sessions of training under my belt, just to get back into the swing of, excuse the pun, back into the swing of things in terms of EI, we had obviously then booked hotels and flights and everything that we needed. And so what would be involved was getting up bright and early on the Friday morning prior to the event and getting a bus. 2-hour bus ride from Belfast to Dublin, and then that would take us straight into the airport, Dublin airport, and then get a plane, which would be another 1.5 to 2 hours, give or take, to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. Hi. Just in Dublin airport here, getting ready to fly. 1.5, 2 hours to Schiphol, something like that, and then we land in Amsterdam. And we've got a day to chill out, and then tomorrow, the Saturday, is EI, and we've got seminar, and then Taikai, and then grading. And then on the Sunday, it'll be the same, but for the jodo guys. Right, I think that's my flight getting called. I better get going. we've arrived in Amsterdam. Now we got to collect the weapons. Shh, no weapons. There's no weapons here. Did I say weapons? I don't mean weapons. Open sesame. And then we spent the Friday night, once we got settled, we just made sure we knew where the venue was, which was really handy because it turns out the venue is literally right outside the door of the hotel. You just cross the street and you're there. That was incredibly awesome in terms of, you know, taking a burden off of the attendees. So thanks to the organizers for that. So yeah, we decided to head into town on the Friday night, do a little exploring. Jim wanted to get some donuts. Turns out he's got quite a sweet tooth, so he got Dunkin' Donuts. We enjoyed those. Headed back to the hotel, talked about our objectives a little bit. Alright, so we're just back from dinner. We had tasty pizza. And Jim got us Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep, did.
Because he got the cravings for the sugar. And if you don't know Jim does jodo and kendo, and he also has a YouTube channel actually. Two Spanners?
Yeah, Two Spanners.
Two Spanners.
Not been much on it.
If you're a petrol head and you go look it up, I'll stick a link in the description. But yeah, so here we are. I was just going to ask everybody, what's your objective? So we'll start with you, Jim. What's your objectives for the weekend?
Without sounding.
I mean, like training-wise, like not like delicatessen type.
Right. Okay. So training-wise, I'm not really sure what to expect from the seminar because it's the usual thing. You rock up at different seminars, and depending on who's leading it, you don't know what you're going to get unless you've had experience of that before. Given the fact that it's going to be a short seminar, because the seminar's only like 3 hours, I'm kind of hoping it's going to be reasonably intense but fairly detailed and trying to cram as much as I can in.
But you're here for grading too.
I'm here for grading too, yes. So there's the Taikai and the grading. Taikai obviously I would like to do well, but that's not the focus of it again. The focus is I want to be walking out of here and going home with a Menjo.
And you're going for
Nidan Jodo.
And then we had a little nightcap and said our good nights, and Will and I were due to take part in EI the very next day. So Will and I are up bright and early this Saturday morning. Time to get some breakfast, then head up to the rooms, get changed, and then head over to the hall, which you can see behind me. That's the venue, and I'll get started. Honestly, my objectives today is really just pick up as much as I can from the seminar, and from my betters at the seminar. There's going to be a lot of really strong iaido here, so I'm just going to watch and learn and see what they do and what they have to pass on to me. Have a go at the shiai and just try to get the basics right under pressure. Just try and represent the dojo well, and whatever comes of it, comes of it. And then I think I'm in a pretty good shape for Shodan. I've been practicing a lot longer than most towards Shodan, so mainly because I probably could have taken this grade a year ago. That being said, I'd rather be a strong pass than a wishy-washy pass. So hopefully that turns out to be the case, and my head hasn't become inflated with extra practice. Anyway, I'll check in with you later and let you know how we get on. And so that's the end of the Ishido Cup and the grading. Kind of disappointing Taikai for myself personally, really, because in my pool, two of the people, it was pools of three for us in the Mudan group, and two people who were in the pool with me didn't turn up, so I went through automatically, but then I had to stand around getting really cold, and then just go straight to the knockouts, and I lost that match, and so that was me out. So I got one match and I was out, but I did get one of the flags, so I don't feel too bad. So the next day was the Jodo seminar, Taikai and grading. I wasn't taking part in any of this because I don't do Jodo, but I was keen to follow Jim and Jack's progress and see how they got on, and also I found it incredibly interesting just watching so many high-level jodo teachers and ei teachers that obviously do both arts. Just watching them do their training and practice and their oversight for the event for the day, it was very interesting, and just as a sort of a side gig, you know, I find martial arts interesting, so I was happy to sit there and just listen to them for the day and watch them for the day. But mainly I was there to film, obviously get some B-roll for this video, but also to film the Taikai in particular for Jim and Jack, so that they've got something to reference for their practice, for Mitori Keiko, and of course their Shinza as well. So that was my main duties on the day, was to hang around and make sure I was there on time and available to capture those. So yeah, we headed off to the dojo the next morning, and that's what we did. One of my favorite things about Budo is this capacity to bring people together from all kinds of different age groups and backgrounds. I'm looking around this hall full of judoka, and there's, across every level, you know, it's not just that there's older people in the high grades, or just older people in the lower ranks, or just young people in the lower ranks. There's a good spread of different age groups across every rank, you know. So there's physically capable people, there's great experience that have reached the very high levels, and obviously the very top levels tend to be filled with the most experienced people, so they do tend to be older. But those people who have obviously got an earlier start, who've put the effort in, you know, have reached really reputable ranks. But there's this, generally speaking, in every rank, in every group, Budo is open to everyone, and it's something the Japanese have managed to do very well with how they've repurposed the martial arts. So yeah, it's very encouraging. We had a good sayonara party, sayonara dinner. Well attended, tasty food. Who can complain? A couple of beverages, good company. But yeah, a couple of takeaways. One of the high grades, you know, I'm not going to sort of name names or anything like that, but bit of feedback, general feedback after the event. A couple of things were raised. So one was, you know, this particular high grade had noticed that all Ikkyu and all Shodan had passed, and in his view, that shouldn't have been the case, that there was too much of a level discrepancy within each particular grade. In particular, with the IQs. So his feeling was that, Shodan is a serious grade, and after you pass IQ, you only have 3 months of training to be ready for Shodan, and you should be in a realistic position within shouting distance of Shodan. It shouldn't be a case that you've got this huge level discrepancy. Surely everyone should be in and around the same level, and if they're not, then that's a noticeable problem. So I think his main issue was that there needs to be more clearly defined parameters for what IQ and Shodan mean, and hold people to that standard. And if someone's like, you're a little unsure about them, then treat it as they haven't made the standard. So there was a bit of a warning shot fired across everyone's bow last night. He had some other remarks as well, which I found particularly interesting as a kendoka doing EI. And the guys from our club who do jodo, they're kendoka as well. And so it all revolved around generally the general speed of the kata, the embu, yesterday for EI. He felt was just too pedestrian, and he felt that was the case all the way up until Godan. And he said there were 1 or 2 people in the Godan categories for the Shinsa, where he was like, okay, that's good, that's kind of what he wants to see. But for the most part, he wasn't happy that the speed was right of the kata, which is a very interesting observation, because there's that constant tussle between kihon and getting the form right. And often you need to slow people down to get them to think about that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not that that's the wrong approach or anything like that. I don't think that's what he's saying. What he's saying is there's time for training, and yes, you'll slow down and look at the details and correct all these minor mechanical things that all add up to the sum of your entire quality of your game. But when it comes time to do embu, it's a performance, and it needs to show that realism, that in your mind you're treating it as close to a combative situation as you can make it. So I think, like, for example, a really, really easy one to point out was during the Taikai, for everyone, I think from Shodan to Sandan, maybe even Yondan, I can't quite remember. But yeah, the big portion of kind of juniors all the way up to Sandan at the very least, we all had the same set kata pieces. So it was Mae, Murotetsuki, and Zuetesuki. Was it? Yeah, that's right. So 1, 6, and 9. And I think most people did a reasonable job with Mae, but with Murotetsuki in particular, I've noticed, because my tendency would be, a lot of times I get told maybe I'm going a bit too fast. Yesterday I kind of slowed it down because that seemed to be the tone of the event. I was just I'd just do the best form I could and show the teachers that I was listening to them with some of the mechanics. But yeah, I think possibly I lost a bit of zing out of my performance. But despite that, my point is, when you're doing the kata, and you're stepping in, I think it's important to kind of show that seme when you're stepping in and make that draw sharp. And then have that ski be quite immediate, and as soon as that ski lands, you should be looking over your shoulder to see where the next opponent is, and kind of seizing the initiative of, in your mind's eye, you should be seizing the initiative of them. So you can't really wait. And so I think I know what he was getting at when I was watching other people perform the kata. It was a little bit pedestrian, it was a little bit like, oh, big cut, stop, chudan, stop, ski, stop, look, turn, stop, cut. Here, You know, and I think what he's getting at is it needs to be, when it comes time to perform, you know, it needs to be, you know, semi, draw, ski, look, cut, sunshine. You know what I mean? You've got to be pretty, you know, if it was a realistic situation, those opponents are not waiting for you. They're not waiting for you to be ready. So I think that's my takeaway from what he's trying to pass on to us is it needs to be more combative. It needs to be more situational. So I thought it was interesting feedback, and I think as kendoka first, who do these arts and have come to them later, it kind of plays to our wheelhouse a little bit, because in kendo you don't have that luxury. There's, you know, particularly in the shiai, the other person is out to score ippon, and they're not there to concede ippon, and you're trying to do the same, and they're not going to let you. So, you know, we have that kind of sparring-like interaction, that pressure testing of our skills. And we can look back on it later and go, oh yeah, our form went out of the window and all that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if you came out of it and you took the ippon and they didn't take the ippon, well, then you live to fight another day. That's kind of, you know, that's the feeling. And in Ei and Jo, it's hard to simulate that, because it is just kata and embu that you have to work with. You don't really have sparring to demonstrate. You don't have sort of bunkai or something like that, you know, that you would have in, say, karate or something like that. So I can understand why he's pressuring people that way, which is it's great to do high quality kihon, but at the end of the day, when it comes to actually demonstrating your skills, you need to perform, and it's a really important part of that game, to make it as practical and applicable as you can. Okay, so yeah, super interesting. Now it changes the face a little bit of today's jodo events. We'll see what happens here, but there might be some people who arrived for jodo this morning that weren't here for Ei yesterday, maybe aren't aware of that conversation. They'll be going in today's training, and there could be people who were training Ei yesterday who are doing jodo today, and they're maybe going to head into this because they were at dinner last night with a little bit of a different feel to their embu during the gradings and things like that today. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone is affected by it. But I think it plays to our guy's wheelhouse quite well, because like my mate Jim, he's got quite a proactive and aggressive style of jodo anyway. And he's very spirited in how he performs. So I think that plays to him. So, you know, it's sort of like what he doesn't know in long-term technical experience, he makes up a lot of that with spirit. so yeah, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. But you know, it takes two to tango in those kata. So could this cause a bit of a I don't know, an upset or something like that, if you've got someone who wasn't there for that conversation last night and someone who is, and they're paired together, and one person's really trying to put loads of zing into it and the other person's maybe like not accustomed to going at that pace. We'll see. We'll have to see. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, I'm going to head back down and see how the guys are getting on after their morning saburi. Oh, and just quickly, I should mention, he had the same feedback about kendoka and their passes for the last 2 years or so. So yeah, apparently the level for Ikishodan for kendo, he's not happy with that either. So yeah, let's all work to improve our game. Hi. So, any nerves before Taikai?
Nerves? Yes, it's a competition. I am nervous, but I'm just walking around listening to metal right now, which is helping a bit, and I'm feeling confident. So.
Hello down there.
Ah, okay.
with your haul of medals and
What do you
trophies.
mean, yeah? He got fighting spirit the whole tie.
Yeah, happy enough.
Well, that's a wrap from the Ishido Cup in Amsterdam. Thanks for watching, guys.